I want to get into structure, consistency, routine, and predictability. There are like 4 words I use a lot in every aspect. I mean, all the charting we do that we like the kids to do, the parents to do, is not meant to overwhelm them. It's meant to guide them. It's accountable goals. One of the things I get a lot from parents is, wow, no one ever actually gave me accountable goals. They might say, go into a store and ask for something, but it wasn't in a way that was very structured for them. So it was hit or miss. They either did it or didn't. And teaching them the bridge and knowing how to bridge down that structure of the bridge gives control. It's all about transferring control. But being an authoritative parent is about giving these children that structure, their daily structure, knowing what, when, and where. The consistency in their routines is anxiety lowering, knowing what, when, and where. Just the routines in general. Let's discuss ways that it can be more not just mom and dad, because we want to teach and kind of shape independence. And so we don't want a child completely dependent on a parent to tell them what, when, and where all the time. So one of the things that I want to talk about are the kind of schedules that we recommend. And of course, based on a why, some kids need schedules more than others, the whys of SM. But let's talk about schedules. Do you want to get into that? Like even daily, weekly, monthly, and why that's important?
Well, I think when we think about like a schedule, and that could look like a lot of different things. It could be an individual child schedule. We also recommend a lot of times like a family schedule. Like if you want to put a family calendar on the board so you can see even like the siblings activities or parents activities. So again, it's not just the focus of the child, if that's best for your child, but schedules are a way, again, to build that consistency, that structure, the predictability. And for a lot of our kids, if they don't know what to predict, that increases their anxiety. And so it allows them, if they know they have like a ballet class on Thursday and then a recital on Friday, well, then maybe on Wednesday night, that's when they can go to the store. They can get a few materials that they might need. Maybe they're having like, after the recital, they're having a little family gathering. So again, it allows them to also prep a lot of their goals for the week or their games for younger kids. And they have the ability through the visual of the schedule.
Yeah, like I think about going to the dentist or going to the doctor or going for an eye exam, whatever it might be, or just even needing to go and pick something up at the post office or drop something off. If that's on the schedule, it mentally prepares you for that rather than, oh my gosh, it's Saturday morning, get up, get dressed. Why am I getting up? Why am I getting dressed? If they're used to kind of hanging in their PJs and sitting and watching a morning TV show or on their device or whatever it is that the parent, that is more of a routine for that child, good, bad, or ugly. I don't know how long they're on devices. That, again, is a whole nother episode. But if the child knows I go to the dentist on Saturday morning, they have a means of mentally preparing for that. The parents are preparing them. That's anxiety lowering.
Right.
It's understanding my child does not do well with quick, changes, that transitions are important for most, especially an anxious child. The transitional process is very, very important. And so the more that they can transition into something, the less anxious, the more in control they feel. So again, everything about being a parent, if you are an authoritarian parent, come on, get up. It's Saturday morning. We have a dentist appointment in an hour. What are you doing in bed? Get up. I didn't know. It's a whole fight.
Yeah.
The permissive parent is like, whatever. I don't want to go. I don't want to go today. I'm not ready. And having a tantrum, and the parent goes and cancels the appointment.
Right.
And the uninvolved parents didn't even realize there was an appointment until 2 seconds before or whatever. Again, I'm extreming these parenting styles.
Yeah. And I think, and I also think just with the schedules, knowing your child and knowing, maybe how detailed you want to make the schedule. So for example, we always talk about like with dentist appointments or doctor's appointments, whatever that might be, that could create a higher expectation or more fear, right? Sometimes those appointments are scary. And so your child might not want to see that the month before. So maybe a few days before is the time to prep them compared to maybe knowing a birthday party a month before. So knowing kind of like what's the most ideal timeline. Some of your kids also might need like more of a schedule even during an event. So for example, if you're going to a dentist appointment, sometimes I've even not only made the daily schedule, like, okay, you have your dentist appointment at 1, but maybe you even bring a little schedule with you at the dentist appointment and they can check off like each thing. So we get there and we're going to check in. Okay, let's check that off. Then we're going to go to the back and sit in the chair. Okay, we're going to check that off. Then we're going to first meet with the person who's going to first clean our teeth. Then we're going to meet with the dentist. Then we're going to get our prize, check it off. So it's like even having a detailed schedule of even an event could be a way to kind
and
of
that's kind of distracting too, and it kind of takes our mind off of it,
right?
And being on the lookout. Let's see if we have Mrs. The dental hygienist with the blonde hair or the dark hair, and they're on the lookout for what to distract them. But these are just ways to kind of get them through to lower their anxiety. But I really do like the idea of that schedule, knowing when they're having get-togethers, knowing when they have their after-school activities, knowing when they have a birthday party, just helping them. And the daily of getting up and the routine of I get up, I brush my teeth, I get dressed, I go down for breakfast, and then maybe beating the clock to get there a certain time. This is a way to kind of work and look, listen, and learn for what your child needs. Some children don't need this as much.
Right.
So by no means are we saying to our listeners, every child needs to have this rigid schedule, but the treatment provider you're working with should be guiding you. And that's the beauty of treatment and individualized treatment is no two children are exactly the same.
Exactly.
And it's all about tweaking and putting together an individual recipe. And some may need more of this than others, and some just kind of on their own. Like I have plenty of teens that come in with their schedules on their phone and they have a calendar app, and they're the ones doing it and reminding their parent where they need to go and when they need to go, because they have figured out if I have a calendar and I know my schedule, I feel better. So it's very important as children age that they take that kind of individualized step. And even with the big calendars like on the kitchen or in the mudroom wall, that I encourage the child themselves to be putting things on those schedules so that they're independent doing it. They're putting the tally on there or their daily schedule. They're doing it, not mom. I can't tell you how many times that if that is not said to a parent, 9 out of 10 times the parent does it and not the child.
Right. And also think about even with authoritative, right? The mix between the warmth and the control. So you're giving them the daily schedule. That's the control piece, but you're also explaining to them why we're doing it. So, we're putting this family calendar up and I'm going to have us put all of our activities. And I'm doing that because I want to make sure that when we're going throughout our week, this is going to be making us feel more comfortable. I know for me, it definitely makes me feel more comfortable when I feel like I have control.
Right. So you're not putting it all on the child. This is for you.
Right.
Right? This is for us to feel. So that's almost like a silent goal in a way, right? As I call, and for our listeners, silent goals are when we set the world up, as you said. Active goals are when they're doing it.
Right.
So they're either doing active games where they're, checking it off, drawing, keeping track, knowing the goals, the games. But silent goals are when we set the world up. We as parents know our child does better with this kind of structured process and even the daily calendars, dealing with different difficult behaviors and kind of charting to reward positives, minimize negatives. That's a huge thing for me. Instead of emphasizing the things that they're doing wrong or things that aren't right, we're bringing up how to make it positive. So we flip it. I call it flipping.
Flip it to a positive.
Flip it to a positive. And flip it to a positive means you take a difficult, negative situation and you change it. So some examples are sharing. Young, like children in general, have a difficult time sometimes with sharing with siblings or friends. So what we do is we add that to our positive reinforcement chart, and we get points or tallies for younger children, stickers for sharing. So every time they share, they get a sticker or a tally, whatever it might be. Of course, the older they are, the positive reinforcement will change based on what they need to work on. But that's a common one, the positive reinforcement kind of